Welcome back to the deep dive. If you feel like most advice out there tells you to just add more routines, more tracking, more hustle, and you're exhausted just thinking about it, then this is for you. Today, we're doing the opposite. We are diving into really an anti-guru guide to building genuine mental resilience by strategically subtracting habits.
The weak links.
Exactly, the weak links in your personal operating system. Our source material is an article by Steve Feld, and he's known as a business architect, someone who really, digs into systems and frameworks to radically improve organizations.
Right, and he's a category leader whose insights don't come from some motivational theory. They come from watching real-world systems succeed and, well, more often fail.
And that lived experience seems to be the key here.
It is. It's the whole foundation of our mission today. Feld argues that what holds most people back isn't a lack of talent or, a lack of effort. It's these destructive, unhelpful habits they hang on to.
So the tension we're exploring is that it's not just about playing to your strengths.
Not at all. High performance is about eliminating the weak links in your thinking and your behavior patterns that just drain your energy and compromise your strategic capacity.
And these aren't just minor flaws.
No. In Feld's view, neglecting weaknesses while you build up your strengths, it creates this imbalance, like a badly designed bridge. The strong parts might look impressive, but that one weak link.
That's what causes the whole thing to collapse under pressure.
Precisely.
Okay, let's unpack this. Let's jump right into the first group of habits. He calls them internal energy leaks.
Yeah.
And these are the habits that undermine our most fundamental resource, our sense of internal control.
Exactly. Mentally strong people, they just refuse to give up that internal control to external forces. They get that overcoming adversity isn't about ignoring problems, it's about proactively killing off those negative thought patterns.
The ones that give you short-term comfort, like venting or complaining.
Right. But they prevent long-term growth and, high-level systems thinking.
So the first one on the list is a big one. It's a refusal to waste time feeling sorry for themselves. Hardship is inevitable, we all know that. But Feld describes self-pity as a behavioral choice, a choice that just compounds the despair.
And strategically, this habit is dangerous. It's so dangerous because it locks you into a feedback loop that just stops any real analysis.
What do you mean by that?
Well, if you're focused only on the injustice of it all, you stop looking for a solution. You stop trying to figure out the root cause or adjust the system that created the problem in the first place.
So the countermeasure isn't just, flucky positivity.
No, not at all. It's a forced redirection of your analytical resources.
Okay.
Feld suggests practicing gratitude, and I mean specifically listing 3 things daily, not just to feel better, but to force your mind to operate in a solution-focused state.
It shifts your perspective.
It shifts your perspective away from that emotional loss and back toward finding leverage in the here and now.
Okay, number 2. This feels like a huge one, especially in professional settings. Mentally strong people refuse to give away their power.
The classic victim thinking.
Yeah, that language of, this economy is ruining my business, or, my boss makes me miserable.
And what's so interesting there is that you're handing the controls over completely to the market, to the traffic, to your boss's management style. You become a passive recipient.
Instead of the driver.
Exactly, not the active driver.
So the mindset shift he promotes it's actually really powerful. It's about reframing the involuntary into the voluntary.
Can you give an example?
Yeah. So instead of saying, I have to work late and I resent it, you reframe it. I'm choosing to allocate this time to finish this project because it serves my larger career goals.
Right. And the point of that reframing isn't even to solve the workload problem necessarily. It's to reclaim that internal sovereignty.
You're owning the choice.
You're owning the choice. And even if the situation sucks, you strengthen your sense of control and you keep your mental resources for actual problem solving instead of, draining them on resentment.
Which leads right into the next habit.
Uh-huh.
They refuse to squander energy on things they can't control.
Oh, this is a big one. Complaining about a delayed shipment or the weather or a political decision you have zero sway over.
Is just pointless.
It is pure, pointless waste of mental bandwidth. For a business architect like Feld, this is a symptom of a larger systemic failure. It's a failure to budget your mental capacity.
It compromises your decision-making power later on.
Of course it does. If you spent the whole morning raging about traffic, your ability to handle a really critical strategic issue in the afternoon is, well, it's diminished.
So the strategy is radical prioritization.
That's it. Focus your valuable mental resources only on the actions you can take. or on your response. Everything else is just background noise. You have to learn to ignore it.
And the last one in this section is about refusing to dwell on the past, which isn't just about ruminating on old mistakes, right?
No, and this is a subtle but important point. It's also about, maybe more dangerously, constantly romanticizing the past. That whole good old days syndrome.
Yeah, I see that a lot.
And reflection is useful for learning, but just ruminating. It stops you from enjoying the present and building the future.
So what's the architect solution here? Forgive and let go sounds nice, but
Yeah.
how do you actually do that?
Feld sees it as a resource reallocation tool.
A tool.
A tool. It's not just about emotional healing. It's a conscious decision to zero out the energy budget you were spending on that past mistake or that lost opportunity and redeploy it immediately to a current tangible goal.
It's a systemic cleanup.
It's a systemic cleanup, not just a feeling.
Let's shift gears now. Let's move to what Feld identifies as maybe the most difficult mental block, the fear that stops action.
The action mindset.
Right. How mentally strong people approach movement and change and mistakes.
And this whole section is about embracing discomfort as like a prerequisite for growth. The core belief is that stagnation is the real enemy. Discomfort is just information.
That brings us to habit number 3. They refuse to shy away from change.
And resisting change out of fear, that leads directly to fragility, obsolescence, whether it's a person's skill set or a whole company.
And Feld talks about this compounding effect.
Yes. Every time you successfully navigate a change, a new piece of software, a pivot in strategy, you build a store of confidence.
So the next challenge feels a little less daunting.
Exactly. It reinforces your ability to face future challenges without panicking. It stabilizes your whole mental system.
Okay, building on that, they also refuse to fear taking risks.
Yeah.
But Feld's a business architect. This can't just be about being brave, can it? There has to be some analysis.
You are absolutely right. This is not a call for recklessness. It's about calculated risk.
Yep.
The discipline is in the process. Mentally strong people don't avoid risk. They evaluate it. They use a pros and cons list. They weigh the potential gains against the losses.
Balancing the emotional and the logical.
Right, because growth is found in those intentional, analyzed decisions to move forward even when it's uncomfortable. Because the cost of standing still is actually higher than the risk of failure.
And risks, of course, involve mistakes. Which brings us to number 8. They refuse to repeat their mistakes.
Yeah, and this is key. A repeated mistake isn't a failure of effort. It's a failure of evaluation.
It means you didn't learn from it.
You didn't learn. The key is to immediately run a post-mortem. What exactly went wrong? Where was the flaw in the logic, in the system design?
And then use that knowledge to adjust.
Immediately. Blame is irrelevant. Improvement is the only objective.
And when those improvements don't happen right away, they refuse to give up after their first failure.
This is all about perseverance. It's the recognition that failure is just data collection.
Like the Thomas Edison example?
The classic example. I haven't failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. The mental strength here is the discipline to keep going, to treat each failure as a necessary stepping stone.
And that ties directly into our instant gratification culture. The last one here is refusing to expect immediate results.
Change is a marathon. Any system built entirely for speed is often built without durability, and Feld is clear on this. Whether you're building habits or overhauling a team or repairing a relationship.
Patience and persistence are what get you lasting results.
Right. If you demand instant validation, you create a system that's brittle. It's prone to collapse the second the hard work doesn't give you that immediate reward.
Okay, now for the last section. This is what we're calling the rebel perspective.
I like that.
It's about how mentally strong people interact with these destructive societal systems, specifically the narratives of comparison and entitlement that are everywhere in that guru culture.
Right. We're naming and challenging the broken system here. These habits are crucial for protecting your identity, your values, against manipulation and just confusion.
And number 5 is the core defense. They refuse to worry about pleasing everyone.
This one is so hard for so many people.
It is. But if you're a business architect, isn't stakeholder management critical? Where is the line between compromise and just diluting your values?
That is a critical distinction. And trying to satisfy everyone, it just dilutes your energy and forces you away from your core values.
So what's the protective strategy?
Identify your top 5 non-negotiable personal values and use them as an absolute compass for every single decision.
So stakeholder management is tactical compromise.
But diluting your values is strategic surrender. And living authentically takes courage. the courage to disappoint people who expect you to move away from that compass.
And nothing pollutes that compass faster than comparison, which is number 9. They refuse to resent other people's successes.
Oh, this is everywhere. Comparison breeds envy, and it distracts you from your own goals.
The logic here has to be almost clinical, right? Someone else's success doesn't diminish your potential.
Not one bit. Resentment is a wasted resource. You have to define your own version of success and the system to achieve it without constantly looking over your shoulder.
Because if you're always calibrating against an external standard...
You've already lost control of your own strategic direction.
Okay, another big one in our culture. The entitlement narrative. Number 12 is refusing to feel the world owes them something.
This one's a huge weak link. Just waiting for life to hand you success will leave you stuck.
Hard work is just the ticket to the game.
It doesn't guarantee the prize. That's a perfect way to put it. The strategic shift here is from consumption to contribution. Focus on using your talents to create opportunities, to create systems of value.
Instead of sitting back and waiting for a reward just because you did the work.
Exactly. It's about building the house, not waiting for someone to hand you the keys.
And this last habit feels essential for all the others to even work. They refuse to fear alone time.
Solitude isn't a luxury. It's essential for self-reflection, for mental clarity, and critically for strategic planning.
For a business architect, that alone time is where you run the simulations.
You stress test your assumptions. Feld argues that people who skip this are sacrificing high-level strategic oversight for, low-level operational comfort, just being busy.
And this connects right back to burnout protection.
Absolutely. If you're constantly plugged into external noise and validation, you lose the ability to check your own internal compass. It leads to confusion, to systemic fatigue.
You suggest just 10 minutes a day?
At least 10 minutes a day in silence to evaluate progress, set goals, and just recalibrate.
It's in that moment of silence where the weak links probably become most visible.
That's it. It allows you to spot them and remove them before they cause a major system failure.
So what does this all mean? We've gone through 13 habits to eliminate, 13 points of failure to subtract, not 13 new burdensome routines to add.
Right.
The core Feld idea is that mental strength is like a well-architected system. It develops through consistent incremental effort by removing the destructive habits, not just by building more stuff on top.
It's an incredibly regulating and empowering conclusion. Mental strength is a skill. Anyone can cultivate it. You're not being pressured to do more.
Yeah.
You're being challenged to align your actions, to identify where you're struggling, and then make small, intentional changes by removing the obstacles, not by trying to power through them.
This feels like that human-first, anti-fluff approach we were talking about.
That's exactly what it is. Eliminate the negative pressure points, remove the weaklings, and then just watch how much easier it becomes to leverage the strengths and resources you already have.
So here is the final provocative thought for you to carry forward from this. If you had to pick just one of these 13 weak links to permanently eliminate starting today, which one offers you the most immediate protection against systemic burnout and strategic confusion in your current system?
Start there.
Start there. Thank you for sharing your source material for this deep dive into Steve Feld's grounded and really logical approach to mental resilience.
We hope these insights help you focus on subtraction as a powerful, sustainable path to growth. Keep applying those principles of self-reflection and perseverance.
We'll see you next time.